When my wife and I decided to leave the UK behind, we weren't just looking for a change of address. We were searching for a whole new way of life. And Portugal gave us exactly that. Having driven down through France, Spain, into Portugal, we now arrive at our new home. How about that? And now our new life begins, and there is a ton of exciting adventures before us. Yes! In this video, I'm going to talk about and show you 7 of the most important things that guarantee that our new life here in Portugal would start off with a massive big bang and would continue to grow and develop into a roaring success. First things first. Right, come on, use your imagination here. You have just arrived at your new home. What is the first and most important thing you need to do? Yeah, okay, besides have a quick wee-wee, you need essentials. You're going to need food, toilet roll, toothbrush, all those kind of things. We're kind of blessed because our town of Tabwa is only 10 minutes away from the house. And fortunately, we've got Lidl's on one side of the road, a nice discount store, and then on the other side of the road, a very traditional Portuguese supermarket, Intermarché. Now, between the two of them, you can hunt out the bargains. How about that? Learning the Portuguese language. Having sorted out where we're going to get the weekly essentials from, the next thing was to embark upon learning the Portuguese language. So we signed up at the local council for lessons. They provided them free of charge. You buy the books and the teacher takes you through it stage by stage. And that was really going well, particularly for the wife. However, they changed the teacher and she insisted that she was not going to use any English language. So people were like, well, we don't understand what she's saying. So for example, she says, to open up the textbook and go to page 11, chapter 3. And she's saying this all in Portuguese to people who are trying to learn Portuguese, and they're all going, I don't get what she's saying. So you can imagine it wasn't too long before her class was empty. However, we found that the best way to learn Portuguese is from the Portuguese. So as we became integrated in our community, that's how we began to learn much better Portuguese. To the point where my wife came home one day and she says, guess what? I went into Intermarché and I went to the butcher counter and I ordered all the meat in Portuguese. She was proud as punch and I said, well done, girl, brilliant. Interacting in the local community. Integrating into and becoming part of the local community. For us, moving to another country was not about bringing the UK with us. So if you make the effort, believe you me, you will make true friends. Example, we've got olive trees and I'm thinking to myself, how do you look after these olive trees? I don't even know when you pick the olives. So I see this guy going up and down the road on his tractor. One day I'll stop him and in Portuguese I say to him, when do you actually pick olives? Turns the tractor off, comes in, has a look at the olive trees. When was the last time you sprayed them? I haven't done. Okay, no problemo. And he then shows me how I'm supposed to care for them and then goes on to say that you pick the olives in November. A couple of days later, he turns up with his tractor, spray machine, and he starts spraying all the olive trees. I said, why do you need to do that? Bichos, bugs. Stop the bugs from eating into the olives. How wonderful is that? How helpful is that? How open-armed is that for a welcome into a community? And it doesn't end there. He sees me trimming the trees and he comes running in the gate and he goes, no, Mac, no. I was obviously doing it all wrong. I've never looked after fruit trees in my life. I never had them in the UK. For the next 2 years, he pruned all the trees, all my trees, and I watched and learned from him, and thereafter I took over. Hey, and only the other night, I'm out with the girls at 11 o'clock and we go for a walk through the forest and then come back via the road. I can hear this car coming down the road, so I call the girls over and keep them beside me. The car comes along, pulls up, window winds down. There's this lady sitting in the car and she says to me, "Are you okay?" I said, yeah, fine, thank you. Why? She said, "Well, I just wondered if there was a problem." I said, "No, there's no problem. I'm just keeping the dogs here out of your way so that you can, drive up the road." "Okay, no problem. Good night." Yeah? Would a woman in the UK stop at 11 o'clock at night in a dark lane to talk to a guy to see if he needed help? I doubt that very much. Finding our way around. Finding our way around not just central Portugal, but the whole of Portugal. Some of that was about going off and taking time out to do a bit of sightseeing. But we came here to do a holiday accommodation and we needed to kit an apartment out completely with everything. And we were going to Coimbra, Porto. We didn't have to go to Lisboa, fortunately. And sometimes we got lost, but that's part of the adventure, isn't it? And we really enjoyed kitting the apartment out and coming up with the ideas of how we're going to do it, what kind of things, furniture we wanted to buy. Some we bought local, some we went to IKEA and went and got it from Porto. It was a wonderful experience for both of us. The only thing I can say is, thank God for Google Maps. Refurbishing and redecorating. We spent 3 solid years refurbing and redecorating this Portuguese traditional farmhouse. Now, it wasn't always easy, but with every brushstroke, with every brick we scrubbed, every corner we cleaned, we turned this house into a beautiful home. And if you want to see how gorgeous it is, watch this video up here. Now what I want to do is give you an example of the extent of work that we had to do. These are Portuguese traditional farmhouse doors. There's 19 of them. Aren't these beautiful shutters? They weren't when we got here, they were awful. 30 of them in total. We had to take them down outside, strip them down to bare wood, and then bring them back to life like this. Wow, we were so proud. Spending quality time together and the benefits we gained. The work in front of us wasn't mammoth, it was absolutely monumental. But sharing ideas and tasks, working together, we became the perfect team. Every day was successful and it was an absolute delight to see my wife so happy. Life is different for us now. We don't have to get up at a certain time and go to work like we did in the UK. Yes, we've got responsibilities and tasks in front of us. We've got to turn a house into a beautiful home, but more importantly, we've got to turn an apartment into a business, and we needed to do that as fast as we could so that we could earn an income. And my wife was absolutely awesome at coming up with the most brilliant ideas. She really impressed the hell out of me. Wow. And then we took all our ideas and put them into action, and I swear this brought us together. It created a stronger bond. I'm telling you, I fell in love with that woman all over again. Doing the things we always wanted. Now, life wasn't always about work. We'd become friends with a Portuguese family, a rather large Portuguese family. In fact, every event that they had, birthday party or whatever it was, we were there. And then on top of that, we had time to do the things that we'd always wanted to do in the UK, but just never seemed to get around to doing them. So, for example, my wife wanted to get into arts and crafts. So we set aside a room, decorated it, kitted it out, so she could start doing her painting, experimenting with that, amongst other things. I was able to fly more than I ever could before, my paramotoring. And my gardening, wow, that was just fantastic. It really did give fantastic results. Now, here's something that I remember, and it just tickled me pink. We've got 2 fig trees. My wife would collect the figs up, dry them out. And then on a winter's evening, when we're in the lounge with the wood burner going, we're all nice and warm, watching a movie, she'd say, "Oh, I'm going to go and get the figs." Oh, yeah. And we'd sit there watching a movie, eating figs. What can I say? This is the life that we always dreamt about and wanted in the UK. Time to devote. Life was so different for us now, and the one thing I can tell you that really changed so much was time. We'd got time to devote to the things that we wanted to do. We'd got time to devote to each other. We've got time to devote to the community that we've become part of, to the family that we became involved with. Man, this is important. It changed us and it changed me, and all for the better. Now, don't get me wrong, our journey wasn't perfect, and it certainly wasn't always easy. Moving to a new country, learning a new language, getting involved in the community that we lived in, restoring a house and an apartment. Whoa, but it brought an immense amount of excitement, and each day we treasured every moment of it. Time to reflect. Me and my wife had spent 5 years doing all the things that I've talked about in this video. We had truly turned the corner. Life for us now was way more tranquil, peaceful, quiet, relaxing, and seriously rewarding. I remember standing back one day looking at the life that we'd built here in Portugal in comparison to the UK, and I thought to myself, this is definitely 100 times better than what we had back there, and it's 1,000,000 times better than I ever imagined. Seriously. Got any questions? Anything you want to know? Leave it in the comments below, and as always, I will see you in the next one.